All right, hey everybody. We have Mary here. Mary, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mary Karakashian with Unique Home Staging and Design.
Mary, I know we did a house together that got featured on HGTV. That was pretty cool. And I know, didn't you recently win an award?
Yes, the last one was from International Association of Home Staging, and it was for staging excellence. So that was a nice recognition. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I know you've been winning a lot of awards, and when HGTV saw the house you staged for my flippers that I was selling a house for, I mean, they were just like, we got to shoot this house, and they shot like a third of an episode of House Hunters in there. So I
yeah,
thought
yeah,
that was
that was pretty neat.
Yeah, yeah. So you do an awesome job. I mean, you're getting recognized for sure. How many
Thank
houses do you stage like a year?
I mean, every year is different, obviously, and every year we've been in business, the numbers have gone up. I think last year we staged like 86 vacant homes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot of houses.
Yeah, 2020 has been a wild year. Like it's like we were shut down for 2 months, but now we're back open and the real estate market's hotter than ever. And
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing is like people can sell their homes now somewhat easily, but
Hmm.
staging is still important. And I know a lot of investors do it. Um,
Hmm.
and investors obviously know what they're doing, right? They're wanting to get
Right.
the most for their house. So
Right.
tell us a little bit about why you think people stage homes.
So I think with the whole HGTV, that being so popular and people almost like really expect it when they walk into a house. They really don't want to see an empty house a lot of times. Some do, some people actually prefer it that way. They like the kind of that clean slate. But I think a lot of people, they want to feel like home. So a house just empty just doesn't really feel like home. And a lot of people can't visualize. Like I think that over 80 or 90% of people can't visualize the space and with furniture in it. Yeah, so that's a pretty
Wow.
high percentage. I think that, like I said, the staging's become really popular these days, a lot more well known, even though it's actually been around since I think it's late 70s. When Barbara Schwartz, the creator of home staging, created it and started, kind of making people aware that this is something you really should be doing for your homes. Just like anything else you sell, you need to market it properly. You need to dress it right, and you need to get that emotional connection with a buyer. So even in today's market, I know that there's still a lot of realtors or investors or sellers that are interested in staging their properties just to get top dollar, to get, yes, you're going to get multiple offers, but why not even go for more? Why not try to get the best that you can on this, your biggest investment? So so staging is really important in that sense. So
I've heard some statistics like people get 3 to 6% more for the home and the home sells faster as well. Have you heard stuff like that?
yeah, yeah. And I haven't looked at the numbers recently. There's studies done every once in a while where they kind of, check and see the effects of staging and, how much faster they're selling or how much more money they're getting. But yes, there's always been a great return on somebody's investment, whether it's, getting more money or less time on the market, getting more people through that may not come through, especially this year. A lot of people, most people shop online, looking online anyway. And with this whole COVID thing going on this year, a lot of people, probably a little bit more apt to check, pictures online. And it's hard. Sometimes I even look at these pictures online of empty houses and it's like, well, what room is this? It
Right.
obviously kitchens and bathrooms, you can tell, but sometimes like a bedroom is like, is that a bedroom? Is it a office? Is that the living room? So so definitely it helps define the spaces, obviously when you're there and online as well. So
Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but you got a really good point because people may not know what a room is used for if it's not staged properly, especially when they're again looking at pictures or video tours online. I didn't
right.
really think about that, but that's an excellent point.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if we're talking, let's say, I don't know, a $500,000 house, and you're looking at 3 to 6%, when that translates into dollars, you're talking $15,000 to $30,000. I mean, I can see why people do it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
you take a couple nice vacations with
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. And, I always tell people like the investment in staging is less than your typical first reduction that you might make because you're not getting the showings, you're not getting people in. So, if you look at it that way, like why, cut the possibility of making that money, both for the realtor as well as the homeowner, and try, yes, people just always look at it as spending money, but all you're doing really is, you know, enticing people, making that property look better, have people come in and get the price that you want, especially in this buyer's market or seller's market, it definitely is makes a big difference. So
That's a really interesting point. Like instead of doing a $20,000 price drop, you drop, a few bucks on staging and
yeah,
your pictures. That could be a very interesting and lucrative thing to do rather than, yeah, people are so quick. Oh, here's 5 grand going off the price. Here's 10 grand off the price.
yeah,
And
yeah,
instead,
yeah.
they're not thinking about how they can improve how they're marketing the home.
Right. They don't really think of it as money out of their pocket because they're just slashing a price, but yet it is money out of your pocket at the end of the day. It's money you could have had. So why, not spend a little bit of money to stage it and then, give it a try. It's not going to hurt to try, as long as it's done properly. So
Definitely something to think about. I mean,
yeah.
everybody likes money that I've met so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
So awesome. Well, I wanted to take our viewers through a couple examples that you've done and look at some different staging you've done. And in that, I want you to kind of like just tell me what you were thinking when you staged the home and like
Sure.
why you staged it like you did. And I think these examples, we got some really cool before and after pictures to show people. So
This was a $2.3 million beach house down in Delaware.
whoa.
And beautiful new construction home. And it had been sitting for a little while. As you can see, there's a couple soft accessories that was placed there by the realtor, but then there was then they also actually tried virtually staging this space because as they got buyers coming through, they were saying that this living room it's too small and it's a lot of money they're putting into a house, and it has I think it basically slept, I think, 10 people. So I forgot how many
Wow.
bedrooms it had. So, people are looking for more living space, and this was really the only living space in the home. Other than, obviously there's deck space and whatnot, but indoors, there was a big open floor plan. So they tried to virtually stage it. That didn't help because people might, maybe it looks good online, but then they got there and they still were confused. They still couldn't tell what size couch is going to fit here and whatever. So that's, this is when I went to go stage it, this was basically how it was presented to me. So then I went back and staged it. And I don't know if you want to pull up that picture.
Yeah, let me pull that up for you.
Okay.
Wow, what a difference.
So here it is staged. So, I mean, instantly, I feel when I look at this picture, like this is where I want to be with my family. It's the beach, there's things in there that really, make you feel like this is your beach house, and showing the furniture in there gives people an idea of how you can set up. Now, obviously it's not the only way because you can, you could do a sectional instead of like the two chairs facing the fireplace. That would seat a lot more people. And you could do a different couple combinations. In most houses, there is like a couple different varieties of how you can set up the furniture. But what I try to do is really set it up so that it shows the space the best, because that's what I'm doing is I'm helping sell that space.
Mhm.
So the fireplace is a focal point. So I want to make sure that there's attention to that, which, you've got those, the two seats on each side that really showcase that too. And then you've got your chairs that are facing the fireplace, which most people are going to set up their TV up there. So you have to think of all the facets of what the buyer is going to think about. Where am I putting my TV? Where am I, how's the furniture going to be set up? Then you've got doors to your left in that picture, which was a challenge too, because I didn't want to block the doors because those doors go out to the deck.
Right.
So once we had it staged, shortly after, it did actually get an offer and then it sold. So, and I
Wow.
actually met the buyers on this, which is very unusual that I would even meet buyers, but they wanted to purchase some of the furniture from me. So I did actually get to meet them, and they were saying they just loved like everything I did about it. And They were telling me like what they were going to do and how they were going to set it up to live in. And so it's always fun to hear, like, how did the staging help? Like, how did it sell you on this house? And especially on a, $2 million property, it's not, an everyday buyer that comes by that's purchasing this home.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I'm noticing just like I'm looking at design details because I'm an engineer and I stink at colors and but when I see this, like I get that feeling in my heart that I'm at the beach and like
yeah,
I'm like spending quality time with my family. I feel like you did like some, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like this couch is almost beach colored, like sand, and then
yeah,
you've got like the blues with the water, kind of, like.
right, right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's good that you're pointing that out because that's truly, you are selling like the lifestyle that this person wants to have by purchasing this home. So because
Right.
it's a, half a block from the beach, a beach theme makes sense, obviously, in this case. And yes, you're picking up the blues, so that you're thinking about the water, the ocean, and then you've got, of course, some beach type accessories in there that obviously point that out too, and even the rotten chairs, like the armchairs there.
My brain is buzzing. All right,
Yeah.
let me let's look at another one
Okay.
here.
It's a beautiful room, and then there's deck and backyard. There's sliding doors to the right of the picture that you can't see here. Again, it's an open space. It's a big space. There is a family room not only steps away. So it's like, okay, so what can I do with this space to really sell it? Yes, it's like sunroom, but it's right off the kitchen. And the other thing with this house was there was no dining space in the kitchen.
Mhm.
So I felt it was really important to really show that, this is a great space you're going to want to hang out in, casual, right off the kitchen. So, so there's one half of the room has dining space,
Right.
for, for your everyday dining, and then, but still like a seating area for enjoying, just hanging out, whatever. And it's a great space for entertaining. It's the back of the home, which most people are, live in most of the most of the time the back of the house, not in the formal living room and the dining rooms up front. So, and like I said, there was even a family room, but this was just another space that, sunroom, relax, just kind of hang out, but also have plenty of space for, to show that you have somewhere to eat on a casual basis, not using the formal dining room. And that was really important for me to really kind of show this space as a flexible space for that. So
For me, that space kind of looked older and a little outdated to me. And then
yeah,
when you staged it with this modern furniture, it just made it look brand spanking new.
yeah. Thanks.
All right, we've got this space.
Yeah.
Tell me
So
about this.
so this was just, I mean, nothing too crazy about this space. It's a family room, and it had this really nice, fireplace with the entire wall was brick that they had painted, and then it had like that little the hearth that went across the entire wall.
Mm,
And when I went to see it, I was like, wow, that's so cool. I got to figure out a fun way to really showcase that. And somebody might want to come in and do like built-in bookshelves and stuff like that, but obviously, as for staging purposes, that's not something that we're going to do. But I wanted to really show that space, and this is the family room, so right off the kitchen, people are going to want to spend most of their time in here. And I really wanted to kind of show a little bit more fun purpose to that whole space. And so here you see that, I really softened up that hearth with just adding pillows on each end. And, even though somebody may not necessarily want to sit there, you never know. I mean, kids, or if you're entertaining, you could certainly sit there. But even if you don't, it just really softened up that wall and really tied it in with, the sofa and the chairs and the rest of the room in there. But yeah,
yeah,
I loved it. That was a really cool, fun room to do as well.
I like, the light carpet and the light couch and the light touches in this room like brightened it up a lot, I think. And like
Yeah,
light pillows, and then this sort of like I guess this would be like a navy blue, which is really in trend right now.
yeah.
And it just made it all, I mean, man, did this change the vibe of the room. I could see like just take my money, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I know. And again, that was one of my favorite rooms. Like after, like I saw the way it transformed, I was like, wow. When I'm done like staging and I want to like sit and stay, I'm like, okay, then I think I did it. I think I did a good job. When I have that feeling of like I want to sit down, have a cup of coffee, or just relax in this space, then hopefully, several other people feel that same way, and they're willing to make an offer. So, and this
It
house sold very quickly. So.
did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably helps after you've like moved a lot of furniture. You really want to sit down and relax,
Yeah.
you know?
I know, after a long day.
All right. So tell me about this space.
This house it's very trendy right now, obviously, the open floor plans, it's been for a while. Although with this whole, being home phase we're all going through, I think some people are finding that the open floor plan is not so great. But
Oh,
anyway, so this, as you walked in, you can't really see in this space, but there's a kind of a decent space like right in front of you as you walk in, and then to your left is this family room, and then the walkway, there's the hallway that goes into the bedroom. So I had to figure out, a way to, and this is another challenge that I deal with lots of times is, keeping an open flow to other parts of the house. You can't, put something that's going to block people as they're walking through there, because if you stage it that way and they're walking through and they start bumping into things, they're going to be like, it's too small, or, this isn't going to work, or whatever. So you
yeah.
want them to really focus on positive. So, how to deal with that hallway back there and make sure that, we didn't put a sofa right across from the fireplace, because that would really block that entry to the bedrooms. Yeah, and I just, again, just love the way this turned out when it was once done. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
So it just, what an amazing like transformation. And again, it has this beautiful stone fireplace that also had a longer hearth that, added some softer elements too. And again, the brightness, the gray and the cream and the rug pulls in the paint colors and the furniture together. And then I was able to put like a console table over to the right, was where in that space where I was talking about, as far as, not blocking the path to the bedrooms. And there's still plenty of space to walk through. And, so if somebody wanted to say, set up their TV there versus over the fireplace, they can kind of see what options they might have, or they might do it where the horse is hanging, and have
Yeah.
like a sectional kind of going from like this way. So it gives people, at least if they have a visual and they can see the size of furniture and how it all works, they can start to, figure out, is my furniture going to work, or, what furniture am I going to put in here, and how will it work in this space? And it just takes the guesswork out of that space. And as soon as we stage, this was sitting vacant for a little while, but as soon as we staged it, they did get an offer. So, so that's always great to see, like, that it instantly, like, what a difference it makes for people. And really, it truly does. The staging just really does make a difference.
I mean, I can see why. It's just I am not a good decorator. Like I'm an engineer, I lay out spaces, but like I
Yeah.
get that, but like when it comes to decorating, and my wife's definitely the boss in that department, and
Mhm.
I guess a lot of the buyers are kind of like me, like you kind of have some trouble picturing it decorated, and for me, it just like transforms emotionally. So I can totally see why you got an offer after you did this, because people are going to respond to this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this, I think I included the picture for this house too. This also had a challenging master bedroom. The way it was, yeah, it's that one. And I don't know if you have the before there, but um, you could see even in this space, like it was the shape of the room is kind of like an L. So you walk in and then there's this
Uh,
little seating area that I created. And then to the left, I set up the bed. But honestly, like when I looked at that space empty,
mhm.
I was like, will a queen even fit there with nightstands? And sure enough, it did. I mean, it just fit. But by seeing it there, people can now say, oh, yes, it will fit a bed here. Like that space just looked really small. Now, of course, you could set the bed up on the other end of the room, which you can't see in this picture other than the ottoman, but there was a wall there that I set up with a couple chairs and the ottoman. But these sliding doors, you see sliding doors going out to the patio, were also there. And I really didn't want to block that flow for people to see that, that you can go out, you have your own little patio in your master bedroom. I decided to set it up this way. And like I said, the bed fit. So I think that really helped buyers tremendously in this case, see that space.
Yeah, I mean, I've walked into a lot of awkward bedrooms and like showing houses, and yeah, sometimes you're just like, I just don't know how this is going to lay out. And I think,
Right.
I really like this ottoman that you have here because and the ottoman that you chose is a very like soft, plushy kind of thing that makes sense in a bedroom to me. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Give you that like comfort feeling. And then, yeah, I mean, you kind of almost got this bed like tucked over in its private nook where I feel like I'm safe and secure in bed.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know
And
what I mean?
across from it was the door to the master bathroom. So, you again there's different challenges that you're dealing with, and then the closet doors and things like that. So you really are getting, are limited as to
Yeah.
what walls you can use. So
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. I appreciate you going through those examples with me. I want to ask you, okay, like you see this awesome staging, and looks expensive. How much does it cost typically to stage a home? Like, give me some ranges and
I would
understanding.
say, it depends obviously on the size of the home and where the home is located, so that, are the home, can we bring in just like your average furniture? Do we need something a bit more higher end because we're selling like a $2 million house?
Right.
So, of course the ranges vary, but I would say my average client will probably spend about $1,500 to $2,000 when all said and done between
Okay.
staging and then possibly keeping it staged for another month or two if they needed to. That kind of includes that whole price. But some of the smaller homes for our flips, we can do them for more closer to like $1,000, and that's all they need. Like, is just like a living room, dining room, kitchen, like just really simple small package. And they're not high-end homes, so we can put in our good furniture, which we can kind of dress up depending on what we need to do. But yeah, I mean, and of course that price is dependent on, I'm in Delaware, so my prices are very different than somebody who is on the West Coast, somebody who's in New York, somebody who's in New Jersey. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, well, if you're looking at, let's say, even a $2,000 investment on a $500,000 house, and you sell it for $20,000 more, I mean, that's a 10x return on your money. It makes
yeah,
sense to me,
yeah,
as a nerd.
yeah.
So,
Right. I'm glad you're good at math and doing things quickly in your head. So,
I'm a real
um,
estate engineer.
yeah, that's good. That's good. So,
Yeah, I know we're probably going to have a lot of viewers, and they're just like, I've, I kind of talk to people in their homes, they're selling their homes, and they've got like, I walk in, there's just a ton of furniture everywhere. They've kind of got some of their personal stuff on the walls. Do you think it makes sense for people to try to use some of their existing furniture? Like, what's some of your tips, I guess, to somebody who's looking at, okay, here, I'm selling my home. Like, what do I need to do with my house right now? Maybe it's not quite vacant, but what can I do to kind of
get
get that
ready.
sort of staging feel?
Yeah, yeah. That's a great question because not every house is vacant, and some people are living in their house trying to sell it, so they're trying to make it look the best that they can. A lot of sellers I meet with, and we do like a staging consultation, which lasts about 2 hours. I'm there and I'm really going like room by room and telling them what they need to do with each room to really showcase that space the best they can. Sometimes I'm telling them to, take out certain furniture, take down, personal photos or whatever it is, or they have a lot of, they've got kids, there's a lot of toys everywhere. So there's a lot of, decluttering, depersonalizing, of course. I tried, like, if they, there was a house that I recently helped out where I did start out with a consultation, and then they wanted me to come back and sort of just add those like finishing touches for them. The house was furnished, and even though some of their furniture was, a little outdated or very, or taste specific and not super neutral, I don't want them to spend money if they don't need to. If we can work with what they have, I'll do my best I can with what they have. And, just sometimes adding the right accessories just ties it all together and just makes the house look fine. Like it's great. It's perfect for selling. So, I don't want people to just say, I have to empty out my house and bring in old furniture and things like that. If we can make the best with what you've got, then that's my goal for people who are trying to sell their house and they're living there. So,
I hear you're a fan of home goods.
yeah, I think pretty much every stager is. Although I haven't been going too much lately. I think I have quite a bit. And with
You
this
must
whole
be from New York.
COVID thing, they haven't had the best of supplies lately. But yes,
Really?
I do love to go, and I'm like crazy about pillows. I love pillows. I have so many pillows in my warehouse. It's just crazy.
That's a statement I have never said.
And you have
I'm
so many
crazy about
pillows.
pillows.
Oh,
But I think that's super interesting. Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, the things that I think maybe you're glossing over a little bit that might not be apparent to everybody are the decluttering parts, right? Like, you don't want a lot of your personal stuff on the walls. You don't want to, like, too much furniture in the room, right? Like, if
hmm.
you want to feel, I was just talking with somebody in the Westchester borough here about that, and just like, okay, like, yeah, like, your dining room table's great, but these four pieces of furniture around it make it feel like you can't sit down. So,
Right.
things like that, like, those things at least I can pick up on. But I think it's really intelligent to think about, hey, maybe I can order, some modern touches that I can add to this space that are more neutral in color than maybe what I have right now. And it doesn't cost that much money, right? Like, you can
Yeah.
add those
Yeah.
neutral pillows and brighten up the space and that kind of thing, right?
Right, right. Yeah, and sometimes like even somebody's bedroom, like they might have a really bold color for their bedding or something that's just really busy as far as a print goes. So I'll ask them like, look, maybe you can just go and, if you're thinking about getting new bedding to take to your new house, maybe you can purchase that, something that's more neutral that you can use now and then you could take it with you.
Would you
Most
think
people are fine with that.
would you think like a white comforter or light gray or something like that?
Yeah, just something neutral, depending on the colors that they have in the room, what's going to work, whether it's white or a light gray or like a soft cream or something. And really, you do want like the master bedroom to be like a calming color. It's nice to have some bold colors or accents, but honestly, like, I think most people want to go into their room and they want to feel relaxed. They want it to feel like serene kind of environment.
Go
And,
to
you don't
sleep.
want to walk in and there's yeah, lots of crazy things. But
Right.
sometimes the sellers, they can't do anything. They can't spend the money. They can't take down wallpaper, or they can't. There's things that they just are not able to do, and you just have to make the best with what you can do and change the things that are easier to change out, and
Yeah.
hopefully it's enough for to sell. So.
Well, I am a serial entrepreneur, most of the time unsuccessfully, but I,
Hey,
I
it's always good to try.
I love hearing about your business. In terms of like what how you kind of got started in this business, and then like explain to people kind of if they wanted to ever start their own staging business in their area, like what would they need to do?
So a lot of people who get into staging typically want people that love to decorate, love homes and making changes, making updates and things like that. So I started because again, I always had a passion for decorating. I loved to decorate my house and help anybody else with that. And then I spent actually 10 years staging products to sell. Home decor products. So, I loved that. I wasn't so great at the sales part of it. I loved to, figure out how to showcase the different displays. So I was creating displays and people loved the displays. So it did sell the product, but that to me was like the best part of it. Unfortunately, the company I was working with, they shut down, and I wanted to, I was thinking, what else can I do? Because I do have this passion still. I love it. And I did look into possibly going back to school for interior design, but then kind of like where I was in my life. And I was like, do I really want to go back to school for that? What do I want to do? And I just happened to stumble across staging actually on Facebook, believe it or not. Somebody a friend of mine, now I can call her a friend, colleague out in Virginia, was a stager, and somehow I just saw her posts and I started following her, and then she said that she was going to be doing some training, if you were interested in becoming a home stager. So I just kind of, latched on to that. I was like,
Right.
I want
What
to
an
do this. This
opportunity.
sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
It's nerve wracking because, it's one thing to want to be a stager. It's another thing to start a business. So somebody who's really thinking about that, they really need to think about, are they willing to kind of take on the entire responsibility and everything that goes with it? Or do they just want to learn how to stage and maybe work for a staging company that's already existing? Now, even though staging is not a regulated business, like you don't have to have a staging license. You have to have a business license, but you don't have to have, like a doctor or nurse or some engineer. You have to pass an exam just like a realtor. But
Right.
there isn't anything like that standardized for stagers. So, which is good and bad, because anybody could just, say, hey, I'm going to stage, I'm going to make my business cards and call myself a stager. So, but any of us stagers that are out there, we really try to encourage anyone who's interested in looking for a program to get certified, to get the training and to become a certified stager, because there's so much that you need to learn, more than you really think, like and once you get started, you're like, oh, how do I do this? What do I do with this? How do I do that? And there's so many questions. And especially if you're going to become a business owner and you're going to start your own business, there's so much to know. And
Yeah.
I learned a lot of it along the way, even though I went through my certification, came back and I was like all excited and nervous at the same time to start, and got my business license and created my LLC and all this. And then it's like, okay, now what? The phone needs to ring. I need to make some money.
Why aren't people
So,
calling me?
yeah. So, like I said, so if anyone is interested in becoming a home stager, honestly, like, do some research, find a program that's, where you can get certified and get involved in the staging community. There's a lot of Facebook pages, and just really soak it in. Like the longer you soak it in before you sort of take the plunge, like, I think the better, because there's so much to learn. But then of course you learn a lot just out in the field doing things, things will come up with, as in any business, that you just sort of, unique situations come up sometimes, and you just have to figure it out.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I really appreciate all of your insight all the time, going through those examples,
Oh, my pleasure.
explaining everything. If people want to
Yeah.
get in touch with you, how do they do so?
I have a website. It's uniquehomestaging.com. You can go there. You can do, my number's on there. You can contact me through there. My number is 302-832-7051. And I also have a Facebook page. So if people are interested in following the Facebook, I do post pretty much all our work, like all my work. So every time we stage a house, I showcase it, which is, I think our clients like that too, because they're getting that added exposure. And the Facebook page is Unique Home Staging and Design.
Okay.
So any of those ways, they can always reach out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. My name again is Rob Lawrence. I'm the real estate engineer based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. You can check me out on Facebook as well. Rob Lawrence Real Estate, part of the VRA Realty Alliance. Thanks for tuning in. Hope this was super helpful to everybody. Have a great
Thank
day, guys.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.